Good evening, everyone. Welcome to meeting 4 of the Central and Northeast Area Middle School Boundary Study Committee here at Parkville High School. Thank you all so much for coming out this evening. Welcome to all our in-person visitors. Welcome to all our folks viewing at home on live stream. A few housekeeping tips. Please make note of the exits, if you will. In the event of an emergency, we will access the nearest exit, which easiest one is probably the door we came in, here to the rear of the cafeteria. Once we're outside, we'll take attendance based on the sign-in sheets. So please, if you haven't signed in, both committee members and our in-person observers, please make sure you sign in on our sign-in sheets so that we have accountability. We are live streaming tonight. Thank you, BCPS-TV, for being here with us, which does make it very important. Committee members, again, I'll please remind you, if you have a comment to make, please be recognized and come up to one of the front 2 microphones. Even if you use your indoor voices, it's really important for the sake of those viewing at home that we come up and get our comments captured properly through the audio channels so that we have those on record. We got a big agenda here for tonight. And you have a new option 7 at your tables, and later on you'll be doing some comparison exercises. Over here on the right, we've got stacks of options 1 through 6. So if you need to pull those over and compare maps side by side, there's a map library here that you can access to do so. What else do we have going on tonight? Restrooms are out the door and to the left through the first set of doors. If anyone needs the restroom. I believe that's about it. With that, I'm going to give it over to James Cooper with Cropper GIS. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chris. And again, thank you, committee members, for coming out tonight, those viewing virtually, and some observers we have here tonight. We do have a pretty lengthy agenda here tonight. We're looking at reviewing some new information. New draft option number 7 is on your tables to review tonight. We'll have a small group option evaluation exercise for you to compare and contrast how well each option adheres to the realignment criteria. Then we look to have you guys do some voting in order to select 1 to 3 viable options to move forward with to bring present at the upcoming public information session here in a few weeks. So by the end of tonight, I want you to be well versed on all the option enrollment statistics, how to interpret them, and what some of these impacts may be from these options. We want you to have a good understanding of how well each option adheres to the realignment criteria, and then have a consensus on what options we want to bring forward to the public information session here in a few weeks. So just looking at the agenda here, we're already more than halfway through this process as a committee. Meeting number 4 here tonight. Looking at what's upcoming, we have the public information sessions that are scheduled for March 8th and March 9th. March 8th, it will be held at Parkville High School cafeteria, and March 9th, Thursday, it will be held at Carver Center Auditorium. Following the public information sessions, in which a survey will go out for the public to provide input on the options that we select to bring forward to them. We'll have one more meeting that is scheduled for Wednesday, March 29th, and where we look to make a decision as a committee on which option or options to recommend to the Board of Education. So just a quick background on why we're here. There's construction of a new middle school, new Northeast area middle school that is anticipated opening in 2024-25 school year. And that school is expected to accommodate 1,364 students. We also have Pine Grove Middle School that is being renovated and expanded upon with an expected completion date of December 2024. And it is expected to increase the capacity at that school from 1,197 up to 1,283. So our goal is to provide capacity relief at the Central and Northeast area middle schools, as some schools within this area are over capacity. And then we also want to accommodate the ESOL strategic plan of returning ELL students to their home schools. So So just looking at the two project schools, the new Northeast Middle School that's going to be located here in what is currently Golden Ring Middle School zone, and then the Pine Grove Middle School, what is going to be expanding its capacity that is located here in this shaded orange zone. There are 9 other participating schools within this region, so it encompasses a total of 11 schools. And we also want to be mindful that Golden Ring Middle School is going to be repurposed and will no longer be a middle school in this study area. So quick follow-up questions, some questions that we had from meeting 4. How do boundary changes impact the magnet opportunities? All students will have access to the magnet application process. We provided a handout that is in your packet that you received here tonight, and is also going to be on the Boundary Study webpage on bcps.org under resources, where you'll find the Central and Northeast area middle school boundary study. In this packet, this magnet transportation information just outlines that what magnet programs are going to be served at each school, and then what zones that are going to be provided transportation for your student to attend that particular school for a magnet program. So please review that here tonight and moving forward. And if you have any further questions involving that, please feel free to reach out to me, James Cooper, or anybody else from the strategic planning team, where we can answer any questions that are relating to the magnet programs. Another question we had from meeting 4 was, what is the difference in travel times for students located in the northern portion of the proposed Pine Grove Middle School boundary of option 6? So option 6 is looking at potentially moving students that are located up here in what is currently Perry Hall Middle School zone. And the travel time for that area, for those students that live in this region that are attending Perry Hall Middle School, the travel time is approximately 40 minutes currently. And with that anticipated move being to Pine Grove, it increases that travel time up to about 50 to 55 minutes for those students. Another area of concern that the committee members have brought up that want to know some information about is what happens when this area of Cockeysville Middle School zone area is moved to potentially Pine Grove, which is presented in a few options here tonight. And that travel time for those students currently is about 40 minutes to get to Cockeysville going west, and it's about 40 minutes to get down to Pine Grove going south here. So it's not much of an impact as anticipated for those students to be moving down to Pine Grove. So just looking at our small group exercise, at the last meeting we brought forth option 5 and 6, option 6. Or 5 and 6, I'm sorry, at the previous meeting. And during that meeting, option 5 and 6, we brought option 4, 5, and 6 at the previous meeting, but option 5 and 6 seemed to garner the most attention from most committee members. There were some suggestive changes to each of those options. Some things that some committee members brought forward was further reducing the elementary school to middle school feeder splits, trying to reduce those splits down even further if possible while still balancing utilization and adhering by some of the other criteria. There was also talks of keeping the Hampton Elementary community that is north of I-695 within Ridgely Middle School. And then there was also talks of maybe shifting the boundaries north of I-695 westward while some of the boundaries south of I-695 to the east down below to the east to help balance utilization and provide capacity relief for some of the overcrowded schools. So you'll see here that option 7 kind of incorporates some of those traits that some committee members expressed in changing from option 5 and 6. So we'll have 7 draft options, a lot of draft options for you guys to review here tonight. On your tables, there's option 7. Over here on this table here, there are a row of all 6 options. As we get to the option evaluation exercise later on tonight, you're welcome to come grab each option to bring them back to your table for you guys to review them when you're in your small groups. Just didn't want to put them all on your tables and crowd you out from your table. So they're here to grab, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. But you still want to remember that these are all draft. We still have meetings to look forward to. There are still changes that can and probably will be made based on your feedback tonight and then feedback from the public information session as well. All these drafts are provided in your packet in 8.5 by 11 maps. We also have plot maps as well, and you can access all these maps under bcps.org under the resource tab. We also have www.croppermap.com/BCPS-CNE 2023. That is the interactive web map for you to go on and be able to see current boundaries and the proposed options that are currently on the table. It's a very good resource. You can look up your address on that web map to pinpoint and see if you're impacted or not. And then it's a good resource to be able to click on and off each of the options, one after another, to kind of really see what geographic areas change in each option. So again, option 7 has been drafted here tonight. It was developed based on a lot of the feedback that we received from last meeting. One of the suggested changes was having Pine Grove Middle School extend west to pick up the entire Carroll Manor Elementary community. And that's that community that we were looking at on what's the travel time for that community to get to Cockeys Mill Middle School, which is currently zoned for, or compared to what they would get down to Pine Grove Middle School. And it's about 40 minutes travel time, so there's not much change in distance for that. And it also helps balance out some of the utilization for those schools in that region. The Hantem Elementary community that is north of I-695 stays in Ridgely Middle School in this option, which was another variable that the committee requested. This option was drafted and it's influenced by reducing the number of elementary school to middle school splits. I believe in this option they get down from currently at 27 elementary to middle school splits down to 11. So we really do a big impact on keeping students together with their friends in their communities as they migrate from elementary school to middle school with this option. And then also all schools fall within 3% of the 87% utilization average for the schools in the study area. So this has actually the greatest number of impact and the greatest equitable utilization compared of all the options. So just looking here at the table, I'm sorry it's a little cut off by the power, by the projector, but you do have this table here in your packet. You'll get an idea of what the enrollment numbers result from in this new option 7. My apologies for it not being able to be displayed here. And then also for looking at the over and under capacity numbers for this option and all the options and how they compare to one another to current. You'll be able to look into your packet and see that all schools within this option 7 and all the other options are getting adequate capacity relief and equitable utilization, especially option 7 that you have here tonight, where you'll see that all schools fall within 3% of that study area average. You'll also have demographic tables for all 7 options that are presented tonight. When reviewing those, you just want to look at the current demographics and you want to see how well they compare to the average for the study area. And then you'll want to see what schools change in each option, and are those changes closer to that average for the study area, or do they move further away? And that's a good way to evaluate to see how well we're adhering to the criteria of maintaining or improving upon the diversity at these schools. You'll also have option impact tables, and these impact tables show how many students are impacted in each option. You'll have a larger table that shows rows of green and then rows of beige or pink. And the rows of green just show that there are no students impacted, and the rows that are pink or beige, those are the ones where you'll see that there is going to be impacted students and what schools they change to. So for example, here in option 7, you'll see that there are 56 students that are currently zoned for Dumbarton Middle School that will be zoned for Ridgely Middle School in option 7. You'll also have a total impact, which tallies up the total number of 6th through 8th grade living attendance students in each option that are impacted. And it gives you an idea of how many students are impacted in each option. There's also feeder pattern tables. I'm aware that there was some confusion on how to interpret these tables. So when you're looking at these tables for each option, given that there's a large study area and there are many elementary schools, some of these tables are broken and split up. but they all represent each option and where students currently are zoned for in the elementary school and what school they will be zoned for in their middle school in each option. So when interpreting these tables, you want to look at the left column, which shows the elementary school boundary, and and then the right column will show what middle school those students will go to. If you see 100%, that means that 100% of Carroll Manor Elementary School would be zoned for Pine Grove Middle School in option 7. When you see that elementary school is labeled twice, or in some previous cases 3 times, that means that school is split. That means, so in this example on option 7, for Kearney Elementary School, 56% of Kearney Elementary School students will be zoned for Perry Hall Middle School in this option, and then 44% of those students at Kearney Elementary will be zoned for Pine Grove Middle School in this option. If you do have any further questions on how to interpret the feeder pattern tables, please reach out to me or anybody else from strategic planning, and we'll help clarify and quell any doubts or understandings with reading these feeder pattern tables. Excuse me. We also have walk zone tables. We're always analyzing and being mindful of transportation and being mindful of trying not to impact any students that are currently within a walk zone. And in all options, any student that is within a walk zone is preserved. So just a quick overview of draft option 7. We've reviewed the advantages and limitations of all the previous options 1 through 6. And this slide here just gives you an understanding of some of the advantages and limitations with option 7. As I've already outlined, it provides the best balance among all the schools within the study area, among all the options, as all schools fall within 3% of that average of 87%. So that means no school in these estimated utilizations is going to be over 90%, and no school would be under 84% in option 7. It also reduces the elementary school to middle school splits that is currently at 27 and gets them down to 11. So we're keeping students migrating to middle school with some of their friends and familiar faces and community members. Option 7 also preserves all students that are currently within a walk zone. But some of the limitations with option 7 compared to the other options is it impacts the greatest number of students of the 7 options. So it potentially impacts 2,460 students. It also increases the middle school to high school splits, which is currently at 10. Those splits go up to 15 in this option. So we'll have an option evaluation exercise we're going to let you get into in your small groups. It's to help try to build a consensus on options that will be presented at the public information session and coincidentally the online survey that will go public at that time. You want to identify some common thoughts among all committee members and try to find the options that best meet the objective and considerations of the boundary study. Those primary and secondary considerations are going to be outlined on a table chart that you will be filling out in your small groups, and this will be a good way for you to see how each option compares and adheres to those primary and secondary considerations. This is the chart that you will have on your table. We want you to be able to use stickers to provide and place a color sticker to kind of rate each option. So for example, one of the primary considerations is efficient use of capacity in the affected schools. So as you look at option 1, you want to put a green sticker for well if it adheres and does get efficient use of capacity in the affected schools. A yellow is fair, so it's kind of maybe unchanged or not as great of an impact as you would like, but not bad. And then red is a poor rating. So if you feel that a particular option does not adhere to a particular primary or secondary consideration, then the red sticker is what you will use to put in that box for that option. Again, we have the option maps that are located here. Please come and grab them. I know option 1 through 3 we haven't really revisited as often as of recently, so please grab those maps to kind of refresh your memory on what those boundaries look like and look at some of the statistics that are related to that option. as you go through and you rate each one of these options. Consider if there are any changes that could be made to any of these options to better adhere. We can still make changes to any of these options moving forward. Nothing's set in stone, so any valuable information as you evaluate these options will be useful and put into action if it's viable. For this option evaluation exercise, if you could assign a recorder and a reporter. Recorder just listens and writes the group's comments. A reporter will read the comments at the end of the activity to the rest of the committee as a whole to figure out, to kind of give input on what your group was talking about and related to this option evaluation exercise. You want to discuss any findings, observations, suggestions, or questions your group may have. Look at what are the strengths and limitations of each option, concerns, challenges, and if possible, what changes or new options could be created as a result of your evaluation. So without further ado, we'll let you guys dive into these options, evaluation exercise. We have charts on each group. Again, try to assign a recorder or a reporter, and then obviously somebody that's gonna come up and discuss your group's finding at the end. We'll reconvene here in say 30, 40 minutes to give you guys enough time to really look at each option as a group. Allow everybody to talk and give your honest input, objective input. Take your parent hat off and put your committee hat on and really try to look at these options holistically and how well they adhere to the primary, secondary considerations. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and we'll reconvene here in about 30 to 40 minutes. Thank you. committee members, we'll have about 15 minutes here. In 15 minutes, we'll present each group's findings. So if you can make sure that you're able to rate each of the options and how well they adhere to the primary, secondary considerations, about 15 minutes. So you can make sure that you have a sticker for each option and each variable.
So if they want to make one tonight, we can do that. Okay. So like if they come to me with one option, like we did for pretty much only one option, like but they see like a variation. Looks like let's see if we're doing some variation on it. She's they're really in agreement. Yeah. No. Hold on. I have the right lady over there with the checkers. Oh, to the left. Yep. So yeah, she's mad about the feeder, the boundaries of the elementary high school not being on option 1 through 3. And I'm like, yeah, I know I did add them, they just didn't put them, but either way, you need the data. She's mad that I'm saying that. She's like, I'm a visitor and I need to see it. I'm like, I definitely understand that. But you get the computers. Yeah. The committee members. I was just telling them. And I did update those too. I don't think you can print those up. The revised version of option 1 through 3, which just has the elementary and high school boundaries on there. But I tried to point her to, I said, try to say that even though that is help, you still do need to refer to the tables because that's going to let you know. Oh no, I don't want that. injure you more. Injure more than me falling. I know. Yeah, same here. It's, I almost killed myself saving you. Yeah, well, you don't realize how much that hurt me. I'm sore. Over here in this group.
Yes, 2 boxes. Oh, sorry, let's get it going.
Okay, I think we're going to regroup, guys. I think it's about, I see most of the stickers. You just made it, the final buzzer. You made it at the final buzzer. I think we're going to go ahead and regroup and talk as the groups and just let's see what we have. All right, guys, you ready? Okay. All right. Everyone's energy in the room is good. I've seen a lot of good conversations going on around the maps. I think what we're going to do now is what we'd like to do is just have each group come up to the mic and talk about the stickers and just this is a really good exercise because this gives you an evaluation of all of the options as it relates to the considerations that you're focused on. So I think it's a good exercise, a lot of fruitful discussion. Why don't we have this group over here? I think you guys look like you're ready. Why don't you guys want to go first?
All right, I think we got all our dots here. So I think our main takeaway was that there's really good things about almost every map, and there's some, not so good things about each map. And so when you're trying to think through the primary considerations, secondary considerations, and other considerations, it's a mixed bag. I think one of the things we really liked about 6 and 7 overall was that they do sort of equitably split the shifts, and they affect the most kids, but they also affect kids equitably. One of the downsides is some of the things that they do in terms of continuity of neighborhoods and impact on transportation and pedestrian patterns was really kind of red for us. Those are, I think, our only reds. Overall, number 2, I think, met the most greens. And we liked 2 with a few caveats. And anything else? Yeah, I captured everything. That's it.
Thank you. Does anybody else from that group want to share any other comments that may not have been relayed? It's encouraging to see the number of green dots on the map. It shows that looking at evaluating options that you feel are viable. I think it's important to also remember that no plan is going to be perfect. You're going to find that you're going to have heartburn with almost any solution, because if you move something one way, it pushes another way, and it causes a cause and effect to things. So, just keep in mind the best option that when we get to the end is the one that best meets the needs of all students in this area and best meets those considerations. So, and also another thing to note is that we can always make hybrids of, if you like this area for this option, this area for that option, we can always merge things together if need be. So, but thank you very much. That's hopefully it gave you some good guidance to just kind of look and see how the options size up. Who wants to go next? Okay, you want to go next?
Okay, so we have a variety of colors here. We pretty much felt for all of them, yellow, the efficient use of capacity in affected schools. Some schools are still going to end up overcrowded in a few years. So they're a little bit the same on each, whether you have new building that's coming up or people who are leaving, older people who are downsizing, and families with children are moving into those homes. And then for maintaining or increasing the diversity among schools to reflect the diversity of the region and the school system, we kind of felt like that was pretty great over here, that was pretty great for everybody. there's not a lot you can do to change without having somebody, like a group of people having to go super far just for diversity. So we looked at the farm scores, and there's only one school that's having a significant change, and I think it's still under 10%. So that's for diversity. And Halstead to Dumbarton, we thought is a great idea. They're not moving too far. And then the loss of Esau will help keep the racial balance in school. Same thing with Halstead going to Dumbarton. And then for maintaining the continuity of neighborhoods, what we did was the first three we thought had really small percentages, like 1, 4, and 6. So you had a little bit from one school, you had a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. So we thought that those should be kept together. And then the next three all had 13% or more. And then, of course, 7 had the most, the least amount of elementary splits. Although it's higher in high school, we feel that the elementary school to middle school is more important because of the amount of magnets and private schools that people go to. They're driving, they have social media and phones, so kids can communicate with each other, even if they're not going to the same school, a little bit more when you're in high school. And then impact of transportation, we just felt everything was red because we can't really predict that. Even if you say, okay, well, it's only going to be about such and such 40 minutes, 50 minutes, once you actually get down to it, we don't think that that's something that can be predicted. And location of feeder school boundaries and continuity of feeder patterns. The first three, kind of same as before, we weren't crazy about those, and then got a little bit better, and then definitely number 7 is the best for that. And then our last one is minimizing the number of students impacted by boundary changes. So the ones that we have green are the ones that it's only about 1,500, and then the reds are 2,000 or more. So that's Group Yellow.
Great, thank you very much. You can just take that back to your table, yeah. Anybody else from that group want to provide any other additional input that may not have been relayed? Okay, we already have another volunteer group coming up here, so we'll let you guys go next.
Hello. So we're looking, and we saw that there were a couple schools that had more than 92% population with the first 3 plans. So we were really concerned if any new developments in those areas would put them over the threshold for population growth. So we did yellow for Perry Hall because Perry Hall was the only one that had 92 for 4, 5, and 6. And then 7 we thought was good because everybody was under 90%. So we thought that was really good, allowed for growth and development. Maintain the diversity. We're not 100% sure because we couldn't really read their maps. It was kind of too much information for some of us. So we're thinking that if you could do a thing where you flag any numbers that's more than 6% change from the original plan, that would help us identify those areas that might be something that we're concerned about. We are concerned about I'm just hold on to that one. All right, maintain the communities. We thought the first 3 did not do a good job of that. 4, 5, and 6 we think do an okay job, and then 7 we thought did the best job of maintaining the communities. Impact of transportation, we again said yellow because the walkers weren't really impacted, but we were concerned about like how long the longest distance would be for the kids. Long-term growth, we did yellow again, but that's based on future growth. We don't know where the developments are going to go. We do know developments are going to be in the Northeast Middle School. We know Middle River is going to have development. We know Perry Hall is going to have development. So how are we going to be able to adjust for those things? Location of the feeder schools. We did yellow for if it was 14% more school. It had 14%, more than 14% of the schools.
What did you say?
It says below 14 and above 14.
Oh, if the feeders were above 14, 14 feeders or more below 14.
Oh, not percent, okay. I
Not
put a
percent.
sign.
Number of feeders.
We did have a comment that Vincent Farm might split the Kenwood group to go to Middle River and the Perry Hall group that goes to Northeast, just to give them headway. And then the same thing with Chase Elementary, because I know some of those kids go to Perry Hall. So go ahead and send them to the northeast schools so they can be with their groups, and then send the rest either to Stemmers or Middle River, depending on which school. But try to keep those areas in line with their high schools, because they got a little fuzzy over in our section of town. And then for minimizing the students, we did green for the ones that was the good numbers, like the last group did. And we did yellow for the rest. We do understand that over 2,000 students are affected, but this is the first time this area has had a new middle school in over 30 years, I would think. I think Pine Grove might be the newest one, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to have a lot of kids impacted because we're impacting all these different schools and trying to make it more equitable. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that has to happen because our county has grown so much over the past couple decades.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, you guys want to go next?
I need to see it. Okay, so we tried to make individual decisions on different things, and I can't remember the justification for each dot, but one thing that stands out is 6 and 7 we felt did increase the efficient use of affected schools, and that they maintain diversity, but this one, so the continuity of neighborhoods for that one, we were split, where half our group liked it, and half our group really hated it, and it was because we couldn't agree on the definition of continuity of neighborhood. So half our group felt if an entire elementary school moved together, that was a continuity of neighborhood, and half our group felt that if you split up a community association, that was not a continuity of neighborhood. And so because moving Halstead to Dumbarton splits Hillendale in half, and then those kids go from Dumbarton, they would go back to Parkville High School. So they're not having the opportunity to get to know the kids in the rest of Hillendale in middle school, that they play in the rec council sports together, they do everything in the neighborhood together, and then for middle school, we're sending them somewhere that then we're gonna send them in high school to Parkville High School, and they won't have those relationships. So it seemed like that breaks up the greater Hillendale neighborhood. But other than that, you can see there were things we liked and there were things that we didn't like, but it's hard to pick one map that's actually really good, so.
Thank you. Yes, and so yeah, you'll find that there's pros and cons to everything. So, but that's good input. Do we have another group? I think we have maybe one more that needs to do their bit here.
So we went through horizontally, looking at each item and then going through the groups as we went. So basically, as we're kind of ranking better and worse through each one, we kind of found at the end it was a fairly even mix of things. We actually created a bootleg point system to sort of rank it out, and really we found that we were higher on the ends, 1 and 2 and 6 and 7 by these standards, but then when we went back and kind of looked at just some other things that weren't really on here, feels, certain neighborhood, who's moving where, those things, we weren't super comfortable with 7, but again, according to these standards, we ended up with 4 greens in there, even though some of the reds we felt like kind of moved it further away. So I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is it's a little tricky to sort of evaluate based on these dots, because sometimes something goes green and other times it's red, but it's a really bad red. So I don't know that everything's weighted equally. But that's generally what we found was 1 and 2 and 6 and 7 kind of ranked a little higher than the rest. Yes? All of our transportation was red because we were reading it as the impact of transportation and pedestrian patterns. Well, pedestrian patterns we kind of canceled out because everybody's in the walking distance. And then in terms of transportation, every one of the plans, there's enormous transportation patterns that need to be traveled. So not that there's any way to fix it, not unless you move schools further out into the county, but yeah, I guess that just kind of canceled itself out. because we felt like it was all not great. Yep. Any other questions? All right.
Good job.
Okay, so a lot of good input, and it really this exercise enabled you to look at these comprehensively. And really our objective tonight is to determine what options you want to take to the public in a couple weeks at the public information session. So our next phase of this is going to be a voting process where we're going to ask you about each option, if you want to take it or not, to the public info session. What we normally see is about 2 to 3 options. Sometimes we'll see 4 go to the public info session. You don't want to take too many to the public, because then it starts to be overwhelming for people to see. You guys are looking at this a lot, and it's already a lot to take in. Usually about 2 to 3 is what we see. So as you can start thinking about which ones to take to the public, I would just say, think about which options you feel best meet the overall objectives and considerations. Maybe consider options that you think are good that have different looks to get input from the public. And so, because after we narrow down tonight for the public, we're going to be regrouping and seeing what the public has to say, and maybe figuring out how to finalize a recommendation after that. So, yes, do you have a question? You want to come to Mike? Okay. Okay, she was talking about there's some options that that we're going. Can you share it with the group, please? It'd be real helpful.
At our last meeting in our group, we talked about 4 planning blocks that were originally, they currently go to Golden Ring Middle School. And so Golden Ring Middle School is going to be not exist. And so, but those 4 planning blocks did not get to move to the new Northeast School. They're going to Stemmers Run. And so it is included in option 1, but in option 6, we had noted that it was not included, and it's actually not included in a couple of other options as well. And it did not get incorporated into option 7. And so for those 4 planning blocks, they're right there at the bottom on the opposite side of Philadelphia Road. I don't know the planning blocks, but if you look in option 6 and option 7, you'll see 4 planning blocks that are blue, and they should have the ability to be able to go to the new school and get the benefits of a brand new school.
Yes, and those are 809, I think it's 811, 12, and 13 are the 4, and those are south of Golden Ring that you'll see that is in Stemmers Run in an option. There's about 100 kids in there, so that's something that definitely is notable, and definitely changes can still be considered and made after we get past the public info session. So there's still things on the table to be able to make adjustments to. So I appreciate you bringing that back up and making sure it's on the radar. Okay, so everybody, does everybody have a clicker? Okay. We're working to get you guys all a clicker here so that you can vote. And Chris, did you want to make a statement?
To clarify, so as a reminder, principals are not using the voting devices tonight. And Mike, that brings us to how many? What's our total? We're at 18, okay. 18 voting members.
Okay. So again, this isn't for the recommendation to take to the board, but these are which options you want to share with the public at the public info sessions on the 8th and the 9th in a couple of weeks, okay? We'll get our little voting system up on the screen, and we'll get to it for you guys. Okay. So we're going to do this one by one through each of the 7 options. And what we're looking for is a yes or no vote on whether you want to take the option to the public info session. So for option 1, if you want to take it to the public info session, A would be yes and B would be no. And so you can go ahead and Do you want to take option 1 to the public info session? Yes or no? We vote for each one. You'll vote for each one, yes or no? A. And there's a number on the back of your clicker, and that kind of shows us if your vote has been cast. And we can see, and so if you see the little red icon next to your clicker number, that means that your vote was registered. Yeah, there's a number on the back of the clicker that shows your. Do we have everybody? Okay, I think we have them all. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, great. 50-50. All right. Okay, well, we're going to let this one. We're going to keep going to the next one. We're going to see what to do with option 1, okay? So, okay, let's look at option 2. For option 2, do you want to take option 2 to the public info session? A is yes and B is no. Is it all done? Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, 61% said no, 39% said yes for option 2. Okay? Option 3. What do you think about option 3? Do you want to take option 3 to the public info session? Click A if you do, and click B if you do not want to take option 3 to the public info session. Okay, option 3. 50, one's invalid. Is that, they click maybe a C on instead? What should we do? Oh yeah, we still have a majority. Even if it was one way or the other, it would still. So 56% said yes for 3. Okay. Option 4, same thing. If you want to take option 4 to the public, click A. If you do not want to take option 4, click B. Try not to click any of the other buttons. They are all cast. Okay. We may have to do, yeah, that one we may have to do again. Let's do 4. Let's do 4 again. Vote A if you want to take 4 to the public info session. B if you do not. Okay, there we go. 55.6% said yes for option 4. Okay. Okay. Option 5. Click A if you want to take option 5 to the public info session, and click B if you do not want to take option 5 to the public info session. Okay. Okay, 61% said to take option 5 to the public info session. Okay. Let's look at option 6. Same deal. A to take it, B to not take option 6. %, feel option 6 is viable enough to take to the public info session. Okay. And then option 7. Click A if you want to take it, and B if you don't think it should go to the public info session for additional feedback. Okay. Option 7, 61%. Okay. So here we are. Okay, we have 3 options that are at 61%. We have 2 options at 56%, and then 1 option that's a 50-50, okay? Like I said, it's about, I would recommend not taking any more than 4 to the public info session. Another thing to remember is if an option doesn't go to the public info session, you can still use that option and concepts from that option to incorporate into a recommendation. It doesn't mean that everything about that option is off the table. So that's another thing to consider. So, it seems to me like the ones that are 61% is a good majority. Those seem to be the ones to definitely share with the public because you have 61% of the voters in there. So it looks like 5, 6, and 7 have 61% of the yes votes. Yes. Another vote. Okay. Well, are you guys okay? So is everybody okay with taking 5, 6, and 7 to the public? At a minimum, 5, 6, and 7, since that had 61% of approval. Are you guys okay? Is anybody opposed to that? Did you want to make a comment? Yes. We're gonna try to figure that. We're gonna look at that. Okay. So we have 3, 5, 6, and 7 that we know we're going to take. That's 3, okay? Now I want to work out 3 and 4 again, and just to make sure, because I think both of those had an invalid vote count. So let's start with 3. Let's look at 3 again and see what you feel about option 3, okay? Knowing we're taking 5, 6, and 7, do you want, in addition to those 3, do you want to take option 3 to the public for their input? Okay, so then we've got 61% that said no to option 3. Okay, let's do option 4 again as well. Option 4. That one may have, I think it had an invalid one, so we're just going to do option 4 one more time. And also we have information now. You know that there's 3. You've taken 5, 6, and 7 to the public. So with that information and with everything else that you've gathered through the process, do you feel it's viable to take 4 as well, in addition to 5, 6, and 7 to the public? Okay. Okay, 55.6, 56% said no. Okay. Okay, and then since option 1 was a 50-50, I want to just take another look at what your thoughts are on taking option 1 in addition to 5, 6, and 7 to the public. Do we have the votes been cast? All right. Okay. So 67% voted yes to take option 1 to the public info session. And it's okay, you know, don't be alarmed if it's an option that you don't like. Remember that these are all draft going into the next level. We're sharing a variety of options for the public to give us input as you work towards a final recommendation. So looking at the way the votes have come through, it looks to me like there's 4 that have over 60%. Option 1, 5, 6, and 7 have over 60%. Do you feel like those are the 4 that we should take to the public info session? It's a good variety, different looks in different neighborhoods. Is there anybody who feels like the other options should be presented as well? And remember too, that's draft. You can take concepts of those options, incorporate them into a recommendation, and so they're not completely off of the table. They're just not full options that are being presented to the public in draft form in a couple of weeks. Yes, ma'am. Do you want to make a comment? I'll hold the map. Do you want me to?
I thought option 4 was viable because it kind of kept, especially like looking here for this school here, the kids that have to go across the Cockeysville, looking at the distance for them coming all the way down. We talked about it's like a 40-minute ride for them coming to school in the morning for the other options when they were coming down here. And then looking at you still leave Dumbarton having open space for open developments for their numbers. And when you looked at option 4, I think all of the numbers were under 90 except for Perry Hall, which was at like 92, which still gave room for all of the schools, and it still kind of kept the kids in their same neighborhoods within their boundaries. So that's why I was saying option 4 was a viable option.
Okay, and I think that there are concepts with this map that can be incorporated into some of the other ones that are still on the table that are going to the public info session. I think that there are similarities, especially some of the things that you mentioned that exist in some of the other options and maybe not in some. So I think there's still an opportunity to take some of these areas, specific areas that you have thoughts on where they should go, and incorporate them into a recommendation. Even if this option as a whole doesn't go, I think there's still potential. Like, so what I would recommend is that we use this, we'll bring back all the maps again, and you can use these for reference as we work to fine-tune a recommendation from the ones that we've narrowed down to. So it's not an easy job. I know this is tough. It's a very large geographic area. So you guys are tasked with a difficult task here of trying to figure out what's best for all children in the study area. So I applaud you for your hard work tonight in getting this down and trying to get this all worked out. So as it sits now, yep, I'll take that. You got it? Okay. As it sits now, we're going to take option 1, 5, 6, and 7 to the public for additional feedback, knowing that we can still leverage the other options that haven't been, that aren't going there, concepts of those options for the final recommendations as we work through it. So as I encourage you, as you can study this maps and continue to study them, to keep looking at those and keep those in the back of your mind. Think about ways that you can incorporate some changes from those maps that may not have made it that you think are viable. Think about ways to incorporate those into some of these other maps that we can consider to try to make a recommendation that works and best meets the needs of all children in this area. Okay, yes. And we will rename them. Option 1 will be A, 5 will be B, 6 will be C, and 7 will be option D when we get to the public info session, just to make it a clear continuity. So that's when you're looking forward in the couple weeks. That's what you'll see at the public info session. Okay. So any other comments or questions about that? Are you on the committee? Oh, sure, yeah. You want to come to the microphone?
So I just want to, map 4 was brought back and there was some reaction, like there was some applause. And so I'm just, like, I know you said that some recommendations could be taken from that, but it's making me wonder, like, is it something based on what your comments were that people want to reconsider? I don't know. I just want to make sure that since these are the things that are going to the public, that if your points resonate, you know, because this is the meeting before the public. So that was my question, was just, is including the recommendations from map 4 enough, or is that something that the committee wants to consider also putting to the public? That's my question.
If you guys, you want to come make a comment?
I can't hear.
I was saying option 1 does have Cockeysville intact, I think the same way in option 4. So I think that's addressed, and when we show option 1, I think that's the same for Cockeysville.
And
4 has a difference for Cockeysville?
So Cockeysville Ridgely is a little different, but that's the point I was making, is that there are components of the other options that can still be considered to enhance another option and make it more suitable in terms of the considerations. So I think that if there are things that there is potential to make adjustments from referencing option 4 into other maps that may be under consideration. Do you want to make another comment?
For the option 4, I would comment specifically on utilization. Out of option 4, the highest school at 92% is Perry Hall Middle School, and that is where there's the most development. And so versus some of the other options, Perry Hall Middle School gets down to under 90%. So there needs to be that room and capacity to accommodate for the ongoing development that's happening in Perry Hall.
It sounds to me like we do have consensus with the committee on which options to take. Is any committee member opposed to what I have gathered as the consensus of the group is options 1, 5, 6, and 7 going to the public. Is anybody opposed to that or feel like we should expand that to another option? Okay. You want to make another comment?
One more thing, just to clarify, because
Okay.
her biggest concern was that opening Loch Raven to the top of Ridgely would give more.
So looking at diversity, so one of the questions was about diversity. For MAP 4, this is the only one that moves Loch Ravens up. So that means that you would move some of your diversity here, and you would have a whole different demographic of kids, give you more diversity in the school that you don't have right now. Because everything you have in the school right now is very urban. This will give you a whole different look in the school, and this is going to change the demographics of your school right moving forward.
Okay. So you were referring to the area that was moved from Ridgely to Loch Raven.
Yes, because it's only in MAP 4.
It's only in map 4. Okay.
Is it in 5 too?
It's on option 5 as well. Okay.
Okay.
So there's
Make
like
sure
bits
that
and
was-
pieces.
Same thing that you were saying, like.
Yeah, little bits and pieces that you can take
It's
from.
just because Loch Raven, there's no more development for Loch Raven. It's maxed out development.
Right.
So adding some diversity would be a good thing.
Okay. Okay. Still work to be done. This isn't the final meeting, and I know we're getting closer. We've narrowed some, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So, we still have work to do. We're at 8 o'clock. I'm just going to give you a couple things about the upcoming public info sessions, and then we'll let you guys go home. March 8th and March 9th, we're having them back-to-back nights. One of them, the 8th, is going to be here at Parkville High School in this spot right here. March 9th is going to be at Carver Auditorium, probably map gallery out in the foyer area. So we'll do a presentation at the start, and we'll invite the public to listen to a presentation of how we got to where we're at. And then we're going to have a map gallery. It's going to be like a gallery walk where we're going to have all of you committee members there present, hopefully, so that you guys can be standing around the maps and having conversations with the public, hearing them out about comments they have about the maps. And then we'll also have a survey dedicated for these 4 options that'll accompany that to get additional feedback for. And we'll provide that in multiple languages. But this next couple weeks, this meeting is intended for the public to give you input and give them the opportunity to talk with you guys around maps and just to get additional input. But make sure when we get there that you tell them that it's important, it's good to have conversations one-on-one, but encourage every member of the public to fill out the survey so that the full committee can benefit from that input, okay? And is there another slide? So, yep, go to the left for this one. So, yeah, so Parkville on the 8th, Carver Center on the 9th. Starting time at 7 to 8. I would say if you can get there a little bit early, it may not hurt. Like if you can get there at 6:30 to kind of see how things are laid out and get comfortable with it, that would be helpful. And if I have enough of you, I can give you a little quick orientation. But I did it pretty much tonight. But we will see you on March 8th. And then we have March 29th at the next committee meeting. So mark your calendars for that. But we'll see you March 8th at Parkville High School here. Thank you guys very much. You just leave your clickers on the table. We'll take care of them. Thank you.